found it. This is the Radio Lawrence podcast where we discuss local art, politics, and community. Thanks for joining us as we host conversations with the people that make up the fabric of our town. I am your host, Shane Powers. Joining us today is Rebecca Davis, representative of the Tonganoxie Data Center Watchdog group. Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. We really appreciate you coming today. This is an important topic, and you are here with the Tonganoxie Watchdog group, but that is relevant to the people of Lawrence, is it not?
We're neighbors. Yeah, last I checked. Yes, for sure. And our group, the Tonganoxie Data Center Watchdog group, we're kind of loosely in cahoots with Lawrence's watchdog group as well. They're called the Douglas County Data Center Watchdog Group.
Great. I want to get into all of these data center topics and specific discussions, but first let's discuss your personal history with Lawrence, because this is a Lawrence show and it's pretty rare. I guess now you're my second guest that's from outside of Lawrence, but I happen to know that you do hang around Lawrence, as I have seen you hanging around Lawrence. So tell me about your personal history with Lawrence.
I love Lawrence. Yeah. After I graduated college, lived here for a couple of years. I'm a registered nurse, working obviously in the medical field, but I worked at the hospital, the Lawrence Surgery Center, and I love to go downtown and dance to some live music. So I love Lawrence.
Awesome. We love having you around. Let's get into data centers. First of all, how did you get involved with the Tonganoxie Watchdog group?
Yeah, so our group started to form back in February. One of our county commissioners did a tour around Leavenworth County, where Tonganoxie is located, and he talked about, Mike Stevens, his name, he talked about roads, and then, oh, by the way, have you heard, they want to put a data center right outside of town. And immediately, my ears perked up, kind of had a visceral response. And at that meeting, our group started to form. There were multiple people that did not like this idea. And so when he got done speaking, we all met outside and talked about, hey, what can we do next? One thing I'm good at, I guess, is reserving a room at the library. So immediately
That's an important person to have around.
Hey, yeah, we all have our roles. So immediately I went to the Tonganoxie Public Library and reserved at least one date, maybe two, I can't remember. And that's how we got the ball rolling.
So Tonganoxie has a pretty noteworthy history of constituent uprising, I guess, a vocal political constituency that you all recently had. The Tyson, you successfully avoided having a large meat processing facility put in town, right?
Yes. Back in 2017, Governor Brownback rolled into our town, and they had a big Tyson trailer outside of one of the Brunswick Ballroom. And someone from the Tyson Corporation gave a speech, mispronounced the name of our town, said we were going to be the chicken capital of the Midwest, and that was another very visceral heck no moment for me and a lot of people. Yeah,
and you were involved in that group personally?
I was. We called ourselves No Tyson and Tongi, and that took off like wild.
So you all banded together and you successfully averted the Tyson facility. And how many of those same people are involved in the Data Center Watchdog group?
Well, just a couple of us, really. I guess I kind of consider myself the one who carried over the playbook from the No Tyson and Tongi movement, as far as organizing, and then I don't know, you get there's one other couple that was very strong into the No Tyson and Tongi movement, but yeah, you get the signs, you get the people, you reserve the events, you want to get a Facebook group, but don't get a page, because if you get a page, then all the people can comment and stuff gets lost. So there's just little tips and tricks like that that we are, again, that playbook carries over.
You're becoming an expert in political dissent.
Who knew?
I love it. So let's get into data centers specifically. First of all, what is a data center?
Exactly. What is a data center? It is a very large metal building full of servers that are processing massive amounts of information potentially from all around the country. When you think about the cloud, the cloud doesn't live up in the sky. The cloud lives in these data centers. And they produce massive amounts of heat and require massive amounts of electricity to function.
Isn't that just a cost of doing business? I mean, this sounds like a great thing. It sounds like it provides jobs for your community. I personally love messing around on the internet. I probably consume a lot of what is considered data. I store things in the cloud. Why is this data center such a scary thing?
Well, this is not your grandmother's internet. I mean, we've been interneting and using these functions for 20, 30 years, but yet we haven't required these huge data centers and this massive amount of electricity. AI is really revolutionizing how we function as a society.
So AI has functions beyond making stupid pictures?
It does. I think there's some really valid functions. Example, in the medical field, I would love to use AI for something like cancer treatment, surgeries, things of that nature. But I don't think we really need to get on the internet and use AI, use all this extra electricity to figure out what Taylor Swift's wedding number count was, blah, 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 blah.
So what exactly do you foresee being uses for these data centers in terms of AI? I mean, obviously AI consumes a lot of processing power, or requires rather a lot of processing power, which in turn consumes a lot of resources. What kind of things do you see on the horizon that become things that our community might be opposed to having happen?
Yeah, well, I do have some major concerns. Flock cameras, starting to see those pop up all over the place.
What's a flock camera?
What is a flock camera? I'm so glad you asked. Well, when you drive by, when you get off the turnpike there, heading into North Lawrence, pointing, I believe, 4 different directions, they have a flock camera, and it takes a picture of your license plate when you come into town, and it takes a picture of your license plate when you leave town. And it stores that for 30 days. And a data center, I'm sure, is incorporated in that storage process. And the thought is that this is for safety, but this is already being misused. There was a case, I believe it was in Kansas, where a police officer was stalking his girlfriend or soon-to-be ex-girlfriend. So there's a lot of privacy concerns with that type of thing. So some people go as far to say that a data center is mass surveillance. I don't know the answer to that. It's just
I can see the connection.
Heard.
It definitely begs the question in that instance, how we got here in terms of, what year was it that Edward Snowden became a whistleblower for the NSA? I don't know the answer to my own question. I know that it's been a very long time ago. I mean, I want to say 15 years feels right. And they were doing the exact same thing. They're using government tools and things that are designed to solve crimes, prevent crimes. They were using these tools to spy on their ex-girlfriend and see what she's doing. And Edward Snowden blows the lid off of this thing. Collectively, Americans were like, "That's not right. What you are exposing right now is really, really bad." And the government was like, the things that you're exposing right now are privileged information and you are now a criminal, and it led to a lot of bad stuff for those guys. Snowden, I believe, still lives in Russia as an exile. Anyways, these guys literally sacrificed their freedom, their entire known lives to expose this information to the public. And the public responded, I feel, appropriately and correctly in saying, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be using mass surveillance entities to spy on your girlfriend. You shouldn't be collecting this data on American citizens. And now it feels like we're right back there in the same circular fight with flock cameras, only now it's grown bigger, and you have to form a watchdog group to prevent them from putting the mass surveillance storage center next to your house.
Yeah. Well, that's one perspective. I wouldn't say it's the prevalent perspective in our group. For me personally, what I was drawn in about is I'm a member of the Sierra Club. I consider myself, an environmentalist, a tree hugger, if you will. And the data center they want to put in Tonganoxie is 1.2 gigawatts, just like on Back to the Future, 1.2 gigawatts. But it's massive. Like, that's as much of electricity that the state of Hawaii uses. Like, I can't comprehend that. I mean, that has a huge carbon footprint. You're going to have to rip down trees and put in a substation. At one point, they were talking about doing nuclear power. That's not going to happen because of SB 98, which I'll hit on here a little bit later. And then also, if the grid goes down, it costs these data centers a ridiculous amount of money per minute, per second, probably. I'm sure they have it calculated out. So then all these backup diesel generators kick on. Well, guess what? Then we're spouting out particulate matter into the air. And this is, a mile at 2 at most from our elementary school, our middle school, our nursing home, a daycare. Like, do we really want our kids going outside for recess and breathing in a bunch of backup, diesel, exhaust fume because the data center's down with electricity?
Absolutely. And not to minimize the people of Tonganoxie, but out of curiosity, how far would you estimate that is from my home here, very near downtown Lawrence?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm not always the best with distances, certainly under 20 miles.
I was going to say about 15 miles.
I'm thinking about 15 because it would be basically the turnpike exit that you get off to go to Tonganoxie and Eudora, but heading towards Tonganoxie. So 15 seems right.
And then we all get our electricity from the same power plant, right?
I believe so. So Evergy holds the contract for the state of Kansas for data centers for the next 20 years. So wherever that lives in Evergy land is where we're getting it from.
And are they stating that they are prepared to meet the demand that, moving the state of Hawaii into Tonganoxie presents? That's a lot of requisite power.
They are drooling over the chance to do this. They lobbied super heavily for SB 98, and SB 98 is through the state of Kansas. It gives a 20-year tax abatement on equipment to data centers. And part of that is that Evergy kind of sealed the gold ring, if you will, for that contract. So
the one to rule them all?
Yeah, that's basically it. Evergy's the one to rule them all.
How do you think that Evergy is going to pay for these exploded costs in infrastructure and just general operations that they encounter as a result of this?
I can't 100% answer that on the Evergy front, but I would like to switch and go to SB 98. So SB 98, that tax abatement that I was talking about. Mm-hmm. So the state of Kansas gave away millions, if not $1 billion in taxes. So they said, okay, any equipment that you use in this data center, you don't have to pay taxes on it. They're just giving away our tax money there. So I have to pay my taxes. You have to pay yours. Why doesn't a data center?
Absolutely. And there is not a smooth talker in the entire world that can convince me that these costs don't get passed directly along to current consumers. And also, if you look at utility rates, ours are higher. As residential properties, we pay a higher per kilowatt hour rate than a business. And so not only are they going to get the added bonus of the friendly business rate, they're also going to be soaking up city rates. Not, we're not talking about a Bed Bath & Beyond opening over there. We're talking about mass consumption of electricity. And yeah, there's no way that I don't see my electric bill going up, your electric bill going up.
I don't know the answer. I do know that these folks are real smooth talkers. Cloverleaf is the company, the intermediary company that wants to, buy this land. They call it powered land. So it's a lot of land that they can, bring a ridiculous amount of power to, and then it would sell to like Microsoft or Oracle or whatever, OpenAI. So they're just the middleman, but they are very much, like I say, smooth talkers. They say that our rates won't go up. I don't know if that's true or not. I do know that this week in Topeka, a lot of city officials and utility people, city managers, legislatures, that type of thing, they basically had a big data center rally right next to the Capitol. And, ooh, rah, sisboom-bah, data centers for us all. I don't know what happened.
This was a pro-data center rally.
Pro-data center.
Okay.
Sisboom-bah, rah-rah.
That is an interesting concept. I don't hear a lot of cheering for the data centers.
Well, they were cheering themselves on, and one of the
as they do
leaders of Cloverleaf was there as the keynote speaker. And Cloverleaf is out of state. They are located, I believe, in Texas. So that's another thing with these data centers is we, in Kansas, the reason they're coming here is because of SB 98. They've said that. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for SB 98. So they're here because of the tax breaks. And then they come in. It takes however many years to build these things. And there's real jobs when they're being built. And I do believe that to be true. And I can see, union jobs, good paying jobs. That sounds great. But let's say it lasts for 5 years. I don't know exactly how long it would. When the data center's built, those jobs go away. I mean, this is an empty, well, not empty, but, you don't require a lot of manpower to make sure these servers are running. So there's minimal full-time employees once the data center is actually built.
And how many of these contractors that are coming, if this is a Texas company, how many of these union workers that are building the data center itself are just being shipped in on a team from Texas that builds data centers? Is there any regulation in Kansas or locally that you're aware of that stipulates if they are going to build this, they have to use local workers?
That would all fall on, I believe, the county commissioners for us, Leavenworth County commissioners are kind of the ones that are directing this. I think that is a stipulation they could put in, but there are certainly sites, in other states where it's, they're rolling in the campers and all the out-of-state plates are there, and these are the construction workers that are putting these things up. And when it's done, those people are going back home. So the money in certain places is not staying local.
Sure. And we love the money that they spend on a sandwich for lunch, but we would much rather that money be going to a Kansan, right?
I agree.
You said that you are at least cursorily partnered with the Lawrence group. We just had our city commission earlier this week voted a moratorium on data centers. Are you partnered with any of the other groups that I have to assume that there's 2 data centers currently being built or proposed in DeSoto? There's got to be an opposition force there, right? Are you partnered with those people? There was a group down in Ottawa. Mm-hmm. Are you working with all of these groups or in contact with all these groups?
I am texting with these people almost every day.
They're your new best friends?
Yeah, that's the thing sometimes with community organizing. You have a whole new friend group. Yeah, it's really amazing the way the state of Kansas and also the KC metro area has come together. I've been on the phone with people. I grew up in Osawatomie, so I've talked to some of the Osawatomie folks.
That's what I was thinking of, not Ottawa.
No, they've got one in Ottawa too. Poor DeSoto, they are getting it handed to them left and right. I feel so bad for them. Yeah, you guys are on a 2-year, right, for the city of Lawrence, I believe, moratorium. Congratulations.
It's great. However, one of the contentions that I've seen there is, where would you put a data center in the city of Lawrence anyways?
Well,
we need that to be a little broader area than just the city limits, I think.
Yes, Douglas County would be ideal. I completely agree. But, Sedgwick County, I think they're on a moratorium. I mean, this is going on all over. Leavenworth County, we're currently on a 3-month moratorium. I wish it was longer.
That is not very long.
No.
In fact, I would say it was kind of insulting if they were like, yeah, we'll pause this for 90 days.
Well, at the time, we were so desperate that it was amazing. But here we are. So for me, this is probably the most political I've ever been in my life. Like, I know my county commissioners, and I know what district I'm in, and all these things that loosely I paid attention to, but I would pay attention, a month before the election. I wouldn't pay attention a year before the election type thing. So I actually changed political party so I could, because I think this is the biggest primary in my life. I really do. I think it's a huge deal. I think the primaries are going to determine, the election in November. So I changed political party to vote for people that oppose data centers. And I felt like the other party had more power. So that's kind of fun.
Are you saying that you became a Republican?
I did. Don't be mad at me, Dad. Cover your ears.
I want to hear more about this. You're like psyoping data centers.
Okay, here's the truth. Lifelong Democrat dipping a toe in independent. And yeah, I'm definitely voting, switch to the Republican ticket for the primaries. Now, this is not Tonganoxie Data Center Watchdog stuff. This is Rebecca Davis stuff. I want to be very clear. No, we are a 501c4, and they have nothing to do with my opinion. So I have to put that out there.
What is a 501c4? What are I understand
that
it's a nonprofit entity.
And so we are political, but we are nonpartisan. So this is all my thoughts at this point.
Is that nonpartisanship dictated by the nonprofit?
That's my understanding, and honestly, my lack of understanding. I just choose to not.
That's okay. I understand that you are not here as the queen of Tonganoxie Watchdog, and you don't speak for all of those people. It was just a stream of conscious question about how that works. I'm not 100% up on my nonprofit rules and regulations. I've never run one. I work for one.
Okay.
How's that? So you personally, as denoted, are not espousing any. You are speaking of your own accord, and Tonganoxie Watchdog does not necessarily endorse the opinions of Rebecca Davis. Does your group run the gamut and cover a wide spectrum of political influences and beliefs, or is this a Democrats don't like data centers and Republicans like data centers issue? What's your group like?
Yeah, that is a great question. And that is one thing I love about our group is we have Democrats and Republicans. We just don't talk about it as far as that is not our focus. We have bigger fish to fry. We have a data center to keep out of our town, and we just don't worry about that. So, like PBS came to do an interview with us, and that was something they're really interested in is just being nonpartisan. And we all get along really well. It's amazing. Yeah, we have retired, we have a lot of retirees, we have educators, healthcare people, farmer, retired military. We kind of run the gambit, and it's amazing.
That's great. What do you think about, I brought up data centers in another interview, and I guess it was that same Craig Musser, the politician that I spoke to recently, and he stated that he felt that the issue should be left to individual communities to determine if they want a data center or not. And he specifically referenced a county in like southwest Kansas near Dodge City or something that was trying to attract a data center because they felt that they had the infrastructure and electrical requirements and that they could support this entity and they wanted it as part of their community. How do you feel about that? Are you opposed to data centers, or are you opposed to data centers in Tonganoxie?
I am opposed to data centers that are right next to larger populations. I am opposed to a lack of oversight or a strategic plan, if you will, in the state of Kansas. Like we have finite resources. We only have so much water. The Ugalala the aquifer is going dry. Where are we going to get the water from? How much electricity are we going to generate? I mean, there are consequences. Like, our state shouldn't have to bear all the environmental, burden for these data centers. So I'm not against data centers, but parcel them out. Do a statewide water research survey. Like, how much water can we dedicate to this? I just want oversight and common sense, and don't plant it right next to a town. Why?
That seems like a pretty reasonable request or position.
I think so.
So we've kind of touched on all of the elements of the reach of the Tonganoxie Watchdog group. How would somebody get involved with you and your organization or a similar organization if they were interested? Someone listening to this right now that goes, well, I'm not necessarily interested in the Tonganoxie group. Do you have resources that people could get plugged in with their own community to fight this battle from where they live?
Absolutely. Our group has kind of fostered some fledgling groups, if you will, as they were taking off. So they can ask, you could ask the Tonganoxie Data Center Watchdog group on Facebook for a hand. Who I would really direct people to is No Data Centers in Kansas. And that group out of Spring Hill, they shut a data center down fairly quickly. And they're extremely organized. You're going to learn some new terms like CORA, the Kansas Open Records Act. You're going to need to know about that. You're going to learn about pilot, payment in lieu of taxes, all these acronyms. Not that that's the first thing that a group would need to know, but there's definitely a playbook to getting organized, and there are resources out there to help folks if they're fighting this.
So let's call some of these groups out by name. You said there is a DeSoto group, an Osawatomie group, an Ottawa group, perhaps. We've got this Spring Hill group. Who are these entities that you're working with?
The thing is, all of our groups are kind of bouncing ideas off each other. I got our name for our group. It was the Kansas City Watchdog group. Great, let's just borrow that. And then when Lawrence came to some folks from Lawrence came to one of our meetings, I was like, take anything you want. Take our logo, take our name, look at our Facebook group, change it, steal the borrow, I won't say steal, borrow the posts, anything you find, make it your own. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. So there's a very supportive community out there. But yeah, locally, like you were saying, it is the Douglas County Data Center Watchdog group. And I know they're having meetings at the Lawrence Public Libraries. I know they want to do it at least once a month. I think they're doing it on a Monday at 6:30. But get on their page on Facebook, and they should have some up-to-date information. But Tongie's got one, Osawatomie's got one, Ottawa, DeSoto. I mean, there's...
And they're all presenting under the name Watchdog, Data Center Watchdog Group of
You're going to find at least one of those words in every single
And
page.
I've also noted that your marketing materials, for lack of a better term, your signs are very generic in terms of message. It does not say no data center in Tonganoxie or no data center in Lawrence. It says no data center. Full stop.
Yes.
Where could I get one of those signs if I wanted to put one in my yard?
Well, if you wanted to message the Tonga Data Center Watchdog group on Facebook, we could. Is your yard naked? Do you need to spice it up? We could get you a sign.
Did this just turn into a commercial for a sign?
Yes, it did.
Perfect. I'm sure there's someone out there listening that has a naked yard. You probably noticed on your way in, though, that we already have one in our yard. Because we support your group and we support your message, we support your endeavors. So I definitely would encourage anyone listening to also, if this strikes you, if this sounds like something that you want to be involved in, reach out to a local group and, make a donation, get a sign, put it out in your yard, talk to your friends, talk to your family. And I think that this is something that breeds in the dark, right? And if we collectively are not discussing what we want to have happen, then we are forced to accept what happens to us. And I don't think that what happens to us in this particular scenario goes very well for any of us. That's just me. Maybe I've already well established that I'm a kook and a radical, and I'm fine with bearing those labels. but hopefully those people out there who are more mainstreamed than myself and not kooks and radicals will also let your opinions be heard in a kind and respectful way to your community and to the people around you.
Well, if it's a kook and a radical that wants to take care of the environment, then sign me up, because that's what I'm doing. I want to take care of my town. I want to take care of the environment. I want Tongi to be a great place for our kids and grandkids. I want to wake up and I want to hear the birds. I want to go to bed and I want to hear the crickets. I don't want to hear a hum of a data center. I want to see the sunset. I don't want to see these fluorescent lights. I want to smell the lilac bushes. I don't want to smell the diesel exhaust. So, yeah, if that makes me a kook, I'll take it.
I know you've already got an entity to be involved with, but we do have a local Kooks and Radicals club. We meet at the Replay at 3 p.m. on Saturdays, so come on down. No, I totally made that up. That's a joke. Like,
really?
Maybe we should start one. If anybody wants to start a Kooks and Radicals club, give me a shout. I'm pretty busy, but I think I could probably squeeze it in.
Sign me up.
Rebecca, it's been really wonderful to chat with you about data centers. Do you have anything else that you would like to add on that topic before we move on to the next section of the interview?
7 out of 10 Americans do not want to live by a data center. Gallup poll.
It's a great statistic. Thank you for sharing. As I indicated, we are now moving on into the final portion of the interview, which is known as the lightning round.
Oh. I'm going to sit up a little straighter.
Everyone sits up a little bit. I've even noticed in the editing process that I get kind of excited and I lean into my microphone. And
is that okay?
And I have to. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. It makes for great audio. It makes Cain crazy because he wants everything to be consistent and happening in a vacuum. And it simply doesn't. You know, we get excited and we talk louder, we talk faster, we get on the microphone. So anyways, this is the lightning round. In the lightning round, I am going to ask you 10 questions that are germane to nothing. You can answer these questions in as many or as few words as you see fit. No explanation is necessary if you do not desire, and I will not be asking any follow-up questions. Are you ready for the lightning round?
Sure, yes. I'm going to go fast because I feel like that's what we're doing.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
What is the farthest you've ever traveled from home?
I made it to Ireland.
What is your favorite hobby?
Yoga, and playing fiddle, and going on walks, and playing with my golden retriever, Cyrus.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Ooh, that's exciting. Oh, there's so many different directions I could go with this. I'd like to sell my soul to the devil and be able to play fiddle better. Clearly, yes, that's it.
What is one conspiracy theory that you feel has merit?
Oh, now you're going to put me at the front of the line for the Kooks Club. That aliens are real. I'll go with that. I'm not going for a deep dive.
When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
A ballerina astronaut.
What is one song that you turn off immediately?
Foreigner or Journey. Any of them.
Are you superstitious?
A little bit. I do like a good full moon.
What is one irrational fear that you have?
Heights. Oh, yeah, that's terrifying.
10th and final question of the lightning round. What is the best soup?
Oh. Potato. Loaded baked potato with lots of bacon and cheese and chives and fresh, crusty bread in winter. Yes.
An outstanding answer. Rebecca, you have successfully navigated the lightning round. Ooh. Again, I appreciate you coming to speak with us about your group and help us get involved with our own local entities fighting the same good fight. I appreciate the effort that you put out in your own community. Is there anything that you would like to say to the people of Lawrence as a farewell? A sign off, how's that?
Oh, Lawrence, I am so proud of you and your moratorium. I know you folks have been out there. You've got signs ready to go in your garage. You can protest. I believe in you.
Thanks, Rebecca. Have a great evening.
You too.